So last episode we were talking about, Brian, without, a film like this, a series, even as epic a story as Peter Francisco
anything
is,
that's going to get made in Hollywood needs money.
You need money. Right. And so a big shout out first to our early investors that got us this far. I mean, frankly, it was small, but they were either a descendant of Peter Francisco who were just passionate about the story because they knew the story of Peter,
right?
Or they were Portuguese American. So we had investors that have gotten us this far.
That's right.
And so a huge thank you to all of you. Huge thank you. Huge. But without some major money,
right. So and here's the thing behind any Hollywood project, like you had mentioned before. Time of conception to time of actually getting it made and releasing is about 13 years on average, right? That's how long it takes for anything in Hollywood to happen. And that's even sometimes when you have an A-list director or an actor behind it. Ryan Reynolds, for example.
Yep.
A decade trying to get Deadpool made.
And
that was Ryan Reynolds,
right?
And he had already played the character,
right,
in a Wolverine film. So,
right.
But also the money behind it is just a massive hurdle to get over. Because film investment is tough, it's tricky, and it's always a gamble, but like any investment, right? But the beautiful thing about this episode is we get to introduce to you a freedom-loving, let's go get it investor who's not from America, actually from Spain, Patrick Finn and his lovely wife,
Yes.
Our first major investors that have actually got us to this point where we've now signed with a production company, distribution agreement, and we're on our way to making this epic miniseries with a big help from this lovely couple here. So
big round of applause.
So
big loud crowd.
Thanks for coming, bro. Thank you for having us.
For man, just your enthusiasm for the story and for wanting this story to be told, especially. We had talked about this in the previous episode, how the whole reason behind Madeira wine and why our founding fathers drank Madeira wine was because of the oppression happening from the British, right, from the king.
Taxation without representation.
Yeah, and just the oppression behind it. He's like, well, screw you guys. That's not taxed. I'm gonna drink that, right? Mm-hmm. Which there's a lot of similarities to our story and kind of what's happening in our world today, right? Just oppression, not just here, Canada, all over Europe. Australia, freedom's being taken away, right? And this is a story about freedom, about fighting for what's right and what's good. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of led you and drew you to the story and ultimately investing in this project, right?
I mean, first of all, thank you both. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
It is an authentic pleasure to be even in Charlotte, really, really beautiful. And we are very blessed to be sitting here with you, first of all. Mm. Second of all, yes, definitely. I come from Spain, and we have a very bad political situation right now ourselves there.
Right.
Communists, left, everything, COVID, oppression, everything, like you just said. So the story really talked to us, to me, and obviously my business partner, David Merino, which could not be here.
David, wish you were here, buddy.
I know.
So he could not be here. He just has been a dad, so 2 weeks ago, blessed with a little girl. So, we both love the story. Yeah, but David also comes from a military background, okay? And I'm always been very patriotic. And this represents this, This story has to be told. When Travis talked to me about his book and all the background, all the story, first of all, it looks like a fiction, but it's true. It's real.
It's huge. It's such an epic story, right?
Exactly. And it's just strange that nobody has told it yet,
I know.
And people have to know this. Yes. People have to know this.
Yeah. And I love that your wife, is a book reader. So I should be a book. I was like, wow, she read it like that.
I mean, you sent it to her like dedicated and everything. It was like it made her day. It made her day really. That was a very nice gesture from you. Yeah.
Yes. So the beautiful thing about all of this is, one of the reasons Travis and I wanted to do the podcast. Obviously, we're making the series. But I guess the push behind the podcast is about the journey, and not just the journey of Peter Francisco, but everybody's journey, and our journey, and how it's just so serendipitous, and I guess God sent, how we oftentimes look to the future and the destination, right, of where we want to be in life, and we're like, oh, if I get there, that's the goal.
That's the goal, right?
and it can so often overshadow the journey, like the moments like today, or where we're so maybe caught up in the future, but we forget that today is really all we're promised. And today, if we stop and just take a moment to be aware of what this day may bring, we can see all those little blessings that the good Lord's kind of left for us today that we can use to impact the world. And this story tells that, and this story lends itself to what the journey really means. And for us, it's just kind of cool because we signed a distribution agreement with a major studio. The next step for us was money, and literally we had no idea along this journey that we were going to meet you. We were like, all right, well, who's our traditional like American people that we can talk? We had several names lined up to go talk to, several studios, but we were never thinking that God was going to drop a Spanish
not
businessman.
Portuguese, not a U.S. citizen.
Right. Then you come along, man, and you fall in love with the story. So,
and that's a God story how we met. So you got to unravel that, Patrick.
I mean, yeah.
And we got to talk about that.
We have to. I mean, we
There's
can't
always
leave.
a story, the bathroom story.
Bathroom, yeah.
We got to talk
Oh
about the
my
bathroom
God.
story.
I mean, well, your cousin Matt. Okay, shout out to Matt. First
Shout out
of
to
all.
Matt. You the man, Matt.
Without him and without my wife, this would not have happened. We were in Vegas. We were in Vegas for an auto show for one of the.
Yeah. So talk about why you're there. So you were there because of one of your other companies.
Exactly. We have one company where we're creating like a Shelby GT replica carbon fiber, all full electric, beautiful car. I mean, you guys see it.
It's amazing.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger saw it.
Yeah,
Kevin
huge.
Hart's dressed and whatever, all this thing. So it's like, I think it's the next big project that's gonna like launch our companies. Anyhow, I'm a big Pawn Stars fan, no? Like Rick Harrison and whatever.
Rick,
So shout out to Rick also.
Shout out to Rick.
So and he has a bar, and we were the last day there. I was tired really, but I said, okay, I want to go meet him because he serves drinks there, no? Every Friday. And we're sitting there, we have food. Still had 2 hours, so he was coming, and I was like to her, like, you know what? I just want to go. I'm tired. I'm done. She's like, no, come on. We stay now here, whatever.
It's always the girl, man, that can hang in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Just when you start to think you're a tough dude, it's like you look at your wife and you're like, oh man, she's awesome.
Definitely. So, and there's this, well, then I was like, okay, let's stay here. And there's this one loud dude at the bar. He's like having beers there with his buddy, like being really loud and whatever. I was like, whatever, I didn't really care. I'm like, I think I just was tired. I was cranky, like whatever. Yeah, I get like a big baby, she says, when I'm tired and hungry, so it's no problem. So then we go. Then I had to go to the toilet, So I went to the restroom.
The bathroom story.
And that loud guy was there. It's like, and I'm standing there doing my thing, and I'm turning around. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" Hey, nothing, just here peeing.
Don't mind me.
He's like, "Oh, you're here to see Rick, yeah." Blah, blah. So we started talking. Then actually, he was sitting directly at the bar, so the two stools next to them got free, and he was, come sit over. I'm like, "Yeah, what the hell?" So I sat down there, and we had the chat. We were talking, and he was like, "Well, what do you do here?" The car thing. I told him the car story. He asked me if I had other companies. And what we do is we have a big hedge fund, okay, with what we invest in many different projects. It just has to be an outstanding idea, something thinking out of the box, or something meaningful. For example, like this project, we have many different things. We have a broker, we have trading systems, we have gold mines. We have a lot of things very different. And now we're including this. And I was telling it to him, and he was like, "Oh, would you be interested in investing in a movie?" I'm like, what?
It was like that. It was just like that.
I was like, what?
Now, mind you, I probably have to say, my cousin Matt is a descendant of Peter Francisco. Yeah. So if you go back, our first episode, we were talking about that. He heard the story from our grandmother telling about Peter Francisco when we were little, and so we knew the story, and then he knew I was working on this. But the fact that he would talk to you at a bar about Peter Francisco.
And he was telling me about it, and I was like, sounds interesting. Yeah, but let's not talk business now. We had a couple of drinks, and I don't talk business when we have drinks. So we exchanged numbers. Little did I know that he actually hit me up like next day. I'm like, oh, it's this guy.
That loud guy.
Yeah.
From the bathroom.
Annoying dude from the bathroom. Now he's texting me. This is weird.
Stalker.
Like, at least give it a couple days, bro.
Give it a couple days. But you guys had hit it off, though. I mean, you had
man, we
drinks
had
and
a
cigars,
blast.
and you really were.
We had a blast. I mean, actually, like, then he was like, do you smoke cigars? I'm like, no, but I have one with you.
I'm in Vegas.
So I leave my wife with this random dude there with this friend. Can you take care of her? It's like, yeah, sure. And we left. We were gone an hour or
So
something
you and
like
Matt
that.
go off to get cigars, and you don't even smoke cigars.
Yeah, I don't smoke cigars. Yeah.
I was like,
But I like,
A big
okay.
shout out again to Matt.
So and we found eventually a cigar place, and yeah, we had a cigar. Then Rick came. We actually bought Rick a cigar too. You
Nice.
know? Yeah. And yeah, we got our pictures taken with him. Everything cool. Just next day I had to fly out early, so that was when our ways parted.
Yeah.
But like I said, without her and without Matt, never this would have happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. So you guys, Matt hits you up, and then he puts you in contact with Travis and I.
Exactly.
And we had a couple Zoom calls, man, and told you about the project and our passion behind it. And man, it was awesome because you caught the passion
vision.
right away. It wasn't a whole lot of like it's not like we had to convince you. It's like, man, you were like, this is a project that needs
A
to be
freedom
told.
fighting story.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was great. It was really
It
great.
really was. It's
Definitely.
unbelievable.
I mean, especially like, for example, now it gets so, it's such a trend now. I don't know why, to bury the past. You know, to try to bury the past, especially when it's about right-wing stories, or I mean, same thing in Spain. Horrible. They're forgetting. They want to forget the past. You can't forget the past if you want to have a great future. You know, you have to know where you're coming from. You know.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and as I say, it's not my story. I'm not American, but this is a world story. You know, because obviously, American Revolution has affected the whole world. How it created. I mean, what would be the world now if England would have won the war? I don't know, but for sure it would be a lot different than now. So I just think it's part of history, has to be told. Like I said, that's why I'm here. Yeah. That's why David and I decided to invest in this project and believed in you guys. That's the thing, especially after talking with you guys, feeling that passion, you know, like how you were talking about. You know, I still don't get the shivers now. You know.
Wow. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I get the shivers because this is crazy that we're even sitting here having this conversation. I'm like, mind blowing that my cousin is in Las Vegas. It just still blows my mind that Las Vegas.
The journey.
The journey.
I mean, he was saying, I still remember that when I forgot to say that also in Rick's bar. He was like, no, the lead actor is, well, you know, it's like Brian Patrick Wade. I'm like, wait a minute. Where do I know that name from? But I didn't connect the name.
It's Kurt.
Then
Kurt.
He showed me a picture of you. I'm like, wait, isn't that the dude that took away Leonard's pants? You know?
I swear, I'm going to be remembered for
the
that.
rest of your life, Leonard's
More
pants.
than anything. You took Leonard's pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're going to be remembered for Luso.
That's right, man. That's right. Absolutely. Well, hopefully, I mean, that's the our dream for this and the journey behind this is to make this a story that stands the test of time and is a tent pole for freedom forever.
Yeah.
And we keep freedom at the forefront of at least what this country is known for and what we fight for, and we get to tell this story over and over and over again through the lens of Peter Francisco.
Yeah.
And man, we couldn't do it without you.
Yes, thank you guys
so thank
so
you so much for being
much.
here.
Thank
You're more
you.
than welcome.
Thank you. Sorry for keeping him at the bar.
Yes.
Talk to my
yes,
cousin.
Thank you. Sorry.
And thank
Yes.
you, Matt. And
Yeah.
just crazy how that happened.
Big shout out.
But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, frankly, then the investor, the next step would be a major studio, which we've been talking about,
right.
but we need to have them on the show.
That's
So,
right. So
next
stay tuned for
episode,
next episode because you'll get to meet
the
the men
co-founders.
behind the men
Yeah, that's right.
that will actually put this thing into the stratosphere, which we're very excited
Very
about.
excited about.
We couldn't do this without a lot of moving pieces. Patrick, David being a very big piece of that, and now this next piece that you'll get to meet next episode, the founding brothers of Angel Studios.
Angel Studios.
And what they're, which you guys would know from The Chosen, one of the largest now most viewed television series of all time.
Yeah.
So that's who is now our production company / distributor. So we're over the moon about the journey and what the Luso journey has brought to us and what we're bringing to it and what we can't wait to bring to you guys. So thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for next episode.
Yeah, the journey has been amazing, and we want to invite you guys along. So click the subscribe button.
Hit it now.
Yeah, that's right. Hammer it. A few times.